Help me, my brother, can you lend me a hand as I walk through this land of confusion? If we give to each other, then there's nothing to take. Let's live life for the moment before it slips away.
Hey, Jillian.
Hi, Jeff. Happy weekend.
Yeah, you too. So we're going to try to get our weekend started out right for a change, huh?
I know. Nice. I like that. I like it. I like having a plan. So today's plan is 5 methods to simplify your life. And what does that mean, Jeff?
Well, listen, we only have so much room in our lives, whether it's like mental space, physical space, or calendar space. Everything we do, everything we buy, everyone we spend time with takes up some of this space. So when you simplify your life, you have a little bit more time, space, and energy to do the things you actually want to do. So that's what we're talking about. And so I think we should just get started. So the first one of the 5 methods to simplify your life is declutter your house. The environment you spend time in has an effect on how you feel, both physically and psychologically. If you're wasting time looking for misplaced items or feeling overwhelmed when you open a cupboard or something like that, then you know there's a change in order. And once you start to organize your belongings, you're going to feel more productive and energetic. So
yeah. You know what? I'm going to be doing this weekend. I've actually been in a mode of doing this since quarantine started, but this weekend we're actually doing my kids' rooms. So I'm scared and I might not come out alive. So if you don't hear from me in like a day, like send a search party.
Well, I certainly hope that you survive. But I'm not going to California because of the COVID stuff. I'm going to stay away from that.
Okay. But I'll tell you this. One book that totally helped me with this part, the declutter your house part, was a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. It's a really excellent book. So if you're really looking to implement a decluttering phase in your life, not just of things, but of, all like things that time suck, people that suck the life out of you, this book will completely assist you in that.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about that. I've been meaning to take a look at it. I think it's on our shelf. Maybe it's even on the shelf behind me right here. So
maybe that shelf could use a little decluttering.
It definitely could use some decluttering.
All right. So number 2 is lose those negative mental habits. Negative mental activities such as feeling sorry for yourself or dwelling on the past can carry a lot of psychological weight and leave you feeling drained. And so you can clear mental clutter by focusing on healthier thoughts. For example, gratitude, which is a huge one for me, self-compassion, and realistic self-talk. If you catch yourself thinking negatively, though, stop yourself by taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and reminding yourself that it isn't helpful. Then switch your thoughts to something that makes you feel happier. And Jeff, I remember that Marissa Wilkie made a yoga video for us in Last Life Ever. And at the end of that yoga video, she actually teaches us how to breathe. So that might be helpful as well. And so as you practice this technique, it becomes easier and easier until focusing on the positive becomes a habit.
Yeah, and this is something that I'm really passionate about. I've said often and almost all the time that I never have bad days, that I gave up bad days when I was 17. And it's really the same technique. Whenever something negative is happening in my life, I do stop myself. And I don't always take a deep breath, but a lot of times I do, and I'll just stop. And if I'm by myself, I'll even say out loud, I never have bad days. Today's a good day. And if I'm with other people and I'm not comfortable saying it out loud, I'll just stop and think, today's a good day. I never have bad days. And like you said, as you do this over and over again, it becomes easier. And at some point it's just second nature, and you just don't have as much negative in your life anymore. One of our group members, Peely, is really good at this. Like, she talks about it all the time, and I just love that. And I definitely think it's something, to surround yourself with positive people will make this even easier, which kind of brings us to the number 3 tip, which is cut out toxic people. So we all have friends or family members who only see problems and never any solution. These negative people can take up a lot of space in our lives. So I'm going to want you to avoid cutting out people just because they're going through a tough time. So like if Jillian's having a bad day, or she's upset because her kids are sick for the last 6 months or whatever, I'm not going to cut her out of my life, because that relationship is important to me. But it is important that I set boundaries, right? So if Jillian's calling me up complaining all the time, I'm going to say, Jillian, you can't complain to me all the time. I can't have all this negativity in my life. I'm going to have to find someone like Peely to hang out with instead, right? So anyway, even if you don't spend too much time with that person, like if the time you spend with them is going to leave you feeling exhausted, then sometimes the best thing to do for your mental health is just going to be to sever the ties. Obviously, it's a case-by-case basis, but I really feel strongly that getting rid of negativity and negative people is going to really help you.
I've actually done this a couple of times in my life, and the first several times it was incredibly difficult. It's still difficult. It's still incredibly difficult, but I find that anytime I've done it, I don't end up actually missing the relationship, oddly enough, even though I have this, gnashing of teeth and thinking it's going to be horrible, and how is my life going to go on without that person, only to realize I feel lighter. I feel 10 pounds lighter after doing that. And sometimes, and there's been times where I've been able to repair that relationship later down the line, because there was some kind of change and there was some kind of progression.
Well, and that's right too. And that's why setting boundaries is really important. And also severing ties doesn't mean saying to the person, I hate you, I'm never going to talk to you again, because that's negative and doesn't help them, right? Sometimes you just have to say, hey, look, this isn't working right now and you need to move on. And then later you can reset that relationship. That's particularly important, I think, with family, because, you only have so much family in your life. And sometimes a relationship is so toxic that you really aren't going to ever repair it. But a lot of times, if you take a little bit of time off, you can later come back to that family member and work out the issues that you've had, because you have the benefit of a little bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, number 4 is the reason why I've had to cut some toxic people out of my life in the past, which is take control of your money. Usually the person I've had to cut out did not have control of their money and became an issue for me. And your lack of control over your money is not going to be my issue. Sorry. But when you don't control your money begins to control you instead. When it happens, it takes up too much space in your life. Make the decision to take charge of your finances. Do it now. One person I follow where, a lot of my tribe, if you will, the people who listen to me, the people who are listening to this now, are real estate entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general. And so what I'm about to say is going to sound really controversial, but somebody you might want to listen to if you're totally out of control when it comes to your finances is Dave Ramsey. Because although you might not implement all of his methodologies, it's a great way to get your mind straight about how debt and money works. So make the decision to take control of your finances, create a budget and stick to it. And once you've done this, making future financial decisions will be so much simpler, I promise. And you won't be spending as much time and energy worrying about money. And I'll tell you, this is something I'm actually pretty good at. The number 4 is probably the one that I'm best at. And even myself, though, sometimes I find that I'm spending a little too much or I'm not paying attention. And once I start paying attention and get rid of like subscriptions, for example, like, do you really need 10 different subscriptions to 10 different television type of things? It just makes it so much easier to have that less noise, even if it's not that expensive. Like, what are you spending $10 a month per television subscription like Hulu, Netflix, whatever. But at the end of the day, just to simplify and get rid of those things and just pare down on what you actually need and use is probably the most important thing.
Look, I couldn't agree more on that. So you mentioned Dave Ramsey, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this to you, but when my wife and I were first married, we really didn't have a budget and we didn't have things figured out. We ended up doing the Financial Peace University, which is I think 12 or 13 weeks. And well, he's very debt adverse and I'm not debt adverse. I mean, as a real estate investor, that's hard to do, but I guess not impossible, but I for a lot of reasons think that debt can be useful. But the point is, I wasn't able to make those financial decisions about investing in real estate or investing in whatever until I had control over my finances. I mean, it takes money to make money, right? So if you don't know where your money's going, you don't have any control over it. You're going to be spending a lot of time chasing yourself around, trying to figure out how to pay bills. And one of the things you want to do is you want to make your life simpler, not more complicated. So if you know where your money's going, then you're going to know what budget, what you're spending your money on. And like you were saying about subscriptions and stuff like that, I used to have all kinds of subscriptions, magazine subscriptions, Netflix deliver DVDs in the mail. And there were stuff, I mean, I remember for a while we had the DVD subscription and they would send it to us in the mail and the DVD would sit on top of our television for like a month and we wouldn't even watch it, right? It's just a waste. It's just a waste of money. And, and then you don't even think about it. And then at the end of the month, maybe you don't have enough money to do whatever you want to do because you spent too much money and you don't even know where your money went. You went, I made money and I don't have any money left. So yeah, it definitely makes your life a lot easier. And it really leads into the fifth way to simplify your life, which is to prioritize your time. If you have a good budget, then you're not going to be spending time trying to figure out where your money went and you're going to have more time. And since time is your most valuable resource, it is very important to prioritize it. So when you consider how much time you're spending doing things like complaining or working on your budget, scrolling through social media, or just simply waiting for something to happen, you'll find that you're wasting many precious moments. So instead of letting time wasters take up your space, what you want to do is make a schedule and do the things that matter the most to you, right? So you're going to schedule things like going for a walk. You're going to make time to play with your children. You can even schedule things like watching the sunset or getting up early and watching the sunrise. I remember there was this video that you did, Jillian, like when I was first getting to know you on Facebook, I think when you first came into Last Life Ever, you went to Mexico and you posted like a live video that you did of a sunrise. And you weren't even in the thing. You just like turned on your camera and like everyone watched the sunrise with you, and you were able to get up and watch the sunrise and enjoy that time. And the thing is, if you don't plan for stuff like that, you're not going to do them. So making time for yourself is going to be really important. And many of the simple things in your life, like watching sunrises, are the most valuable moments. So don't let the clutter that you have in your life cut these precious experiences out of your life.
Now, I will say this, and I think I got to get back into this habit because I've definitely fallen out of the habit. But when I was in college, at one point in time, I just was really obsessed with getting great grades. I really wanted to have great grades. I thought it was important for my future. And I found myself slipping and not being so intensely focused on getting great grades. And so what I did was the following semester, I got a Franklin Covey planner. And not only did I write positive little notes all over it, so back to the number 2, what was it? Number 2, negative, get rid of negative thoughts. I wrote positive thoughts to myself all over it. I put little sticky notes. But then inside the planner itself, I did an hour by hour, like really actually half hour by half hour schedule for myself, where I knew what I was going to do every moment of the day. And I did this, and I'm telling you, it made such a huge difference in my life because I knew at every single moment exactly what I was going to do. And that way I ended up getting to the gym. I got my homework done. I worked because I worked full time in college. So I was working full time, going to college, trying to graduate early, and still trying to take care of myself. Now, albeit there were no children involved, right? But even now, what I could be doing is scheduling all my children's activities in with my work activities and my self-care activities and my family time activities, whatever those activities might be, social and civic activities, volunteer activities. And if you schedule all of this, then it becomes a little bit more of a habit and things will become much easier. I can tell you, I was at that moment in time where I was so scheduled, and I did it to myself. It was self-imposed scheduling. It became a big moment of calm for me. My mental health and well-being improved dramatically. So, yeah.
Well, you can definitely overschedule too, but I do think there's some definite truth to the fact that if you schedule something, it's much more likely to happen. Working out is a perfect example. If you make a habit of always working out first thing in the morning or at noon or whatever it is, then you're going to do it, right? Especially if you have some accountability built in, and that's maybe an entirely different topic. But the point is, if you have something on your schedule, you're more likely to do it. You know, otherwise what happens is you get up in the morning and you have a cup of coffee and you think, I'll turn on the morning news, and then you watch the news for a while, and then all of a sudden you're running late for work and you're just out doing that because it wasn't planned. And that's why getting rid of time wasters super, super important. So quick recap, if you don't mind. There are 5 ways to simplify your life. The first one is declutter your house and your environment. The second one is lose those negative mental habits. The third one is get rid of toxic people in your life. The fourth one is take control of your money. And the fifth one is prioritize your time. Jillian, anything else we need to talk about?
No, I'm super excited. You know, I'm super excited to get my kids' room clean today. So life, you know, for me can get complicated at times. And while it might feel like simplifying things is overwhelming and this is going to be a big change for you, whatever change you're looking to make, start just by subtracting one negative thing from your life each day. I'm going to do that. I'm going to write down, I'm going to start subtracting one negative thing from my life each day and get rid of some stuff you no longer need. This, I've been doing this lately. Actually, in the last several weeks, my husband and I have gotten rid of a ton of stuff, and we stopped trying to sell things for top dollar and just started giving it away. And the feeling of just having it gone is way better than any, $20 I could have received from, selling it in another week or so. Try to clear some mental space by getting rid of just not negative thoughts, but also getting rid of stuff, and make a little room in your calendar for yourself. And hopefully you guys found this helpful and you can use it this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm excited to this new segment. So we'll be back next Saturday with a whole new topic, and we look forward to seeing you then.